Hi, folks. Colin Richards here. I'm president and founder of Lord & Richards, and I'm thrilled to be talking to you today about how you can achieve financial independence in retirement without worry. As we look around at this volatile world we live in right now with wars and macroeconomic cycles plunging, microeconomic cycles plunging, natural disasters, our S&P 500 down in the bear market, what are we going to do about that? Well, our advice at Lord & Richards and my team suggests you create an economic bubble, right? A field of insulation around you and your family so that you can avoid a lot of that volatility that's negatively impacting you right now. And then you can build a plan to retire financially independent without worry. And that's what we want to achieve for you. And so we come alongside of you and we help you map out that plan so that you can move forward without anxiety and fear. The first step is to create a written risk management plan. As I talk about in other segments, there is no substitute for writing down your goals. And as part of our simple process of sitting down with you, we call it a financial independence review. We'll learn what's most important to you and help you craft those goals into a succinct list of goals and dreams and values that are important. Once that purpose statement, those goals are in place, then we build on that to help you achieve that retirement. Then what you've got to do when you create that written risk management plan is you need to take your current investments and figure out where you stand, right? It doesn't do us any good to create a roadmap for you to get to financial independence if we don't know where we're starting. And so we're going to help you pull together your statements, your budget, your retirement date, and we're going to simulate some good and bad things. We're going to stress test. You say, oh, I don't like the sound of stress. Well, years ago, my dad had to go through a stress test, right? It's something that we get on the treadmill and we find out, how's our ticker doing? And he discovered there were some problems. And I was so glad that he discovered that in the safe antiseptic environment of the doctor's office and not out on his daily walk where there was no one to help him. That's kind of what we do. In the safe antiseptic environment of our offices at Lord & Richards, we bring bear markets against your portfolio. We bring chronic illness against your portfolio. Do you know there's a 70% likelihood that you or your loved one in your household are going to need extended care that you don't have insurance for through Medicare or through your normal insurance? That's right. So we got to simulate that to see how well you can withstand it. How about the early loss of a spouse? That's a tragedy in and of itself. But often as we come alongside, when people meet us for the first time and they tell us what they're going through, and we look at that portfolio, there's been devastation. Why? Well, they've lost part of their Social Security, right? When you pass away, you leave behind the higher of the two Social Security checks, not both. How about pensions that may have been just on the life of one person and we've lost them and the pension has gone away, impacting your income? How about the widow tax? Were you aware that if you are widowed and now you fall under the single tax bracket system, that you have a much more onerous tax burden than when you were married filing jointly? That's right. Your lifestyle may not change that much in terms of expenses, right? You want to live in your home. You still want to travel to see the grandkids and do the things that you love, but now you're under a heavier tax burden. And then what we're going to do after we simulate that, we're going to just keep simulating and simulating and simulating until 1,000 times we've simulated good and bad markets. And that's going to give us a picture of the ability of your portfolio to withstand both positive and negative market events, life events. Now, what do we do once we've simulated that? Well, if it's good news, great. We celebrate, we pat ourselves on the back, and let's grab a cup of coffee together. But very often we discover weaknesses, right? That's just the nature of it. And so what do you do when your doctor tells you, hey, I found a weakness? We put a plan in place to fix it, right? And so we got to choose the right tools and make sure that we put the right plans in place so that we get things back on track, even if we have a negative life event. Here's where you start. First of all, we need to identify what money is going to be needed for your retirement. We have sophisticated software that can help us calculate that for you. So you don't have to wonder, do I need 100,000 or 500,000 or $1 million or more? We can help you determine exactly what you need to retire and help you save towards that. using a logical sequence and progression. But in addition to your retirement money, what other expenses are coming down the pike? Do you have to put kids through college? Do you have to pay for a wedding? Do you have some unexpected medical bills? Do you have some surgeries? What are some of the things that are going to require you to be really liquid and have some money available? Maybe your next vacation. And then we've got to determine, what do you need for today's expenses, right? Just money in the bank so you can write checks every month and pay the bills. Once you do that, we can help you partition that money into multiple categories. And each of those categories needs different treatment, right? Your money for paying the bills month to month should not be invested in the same way that you invest for long-term goals like retirement for the rest of your life. You need your long-term goals to be principal protected. They need to be growing. And you know what? We can't have it all, so we got to compromise somewhere, and that compromise is on liquidity. So for our retirement funds, we need to be able to say, hey, I'm going to let that money just kind of roll until I need to access it and build a plan around that. And then for our money, for our day in and day out expenses, we're going to need that money liquid, and we're going to compromise not on safety, but on growth, right? In your bank account, not getting that much growth, but it's okay because this is to pay this month's bills, not my retirement, and so on. So you decide what to compromise and emphasize, and we can guide you in that process. And so what we're going to do then is create a middle column we call a growing reserve. It's got growth, it's got liquidity, so you can get it if you really need it. And so therefore, the thing we compromise on there is risk. You say, oh, I don't want any risk. Well, that's okay. We can help you build a risk-free portfolio. But for most people, they're willing to take a little bit risk in the opportunity to get a little bit more growth. And so what we're going to do there is we're going to come alongside and we're going to help you hedge on the downside so you don't have unlimited loss potential. So those are just a few of the steps. Choose the right tools, create a written risk management plan, create an economic bubble that surrounds your family so you're not devastated the next time the markets wipe everybody out. And it all just starts with a simple conversation we call a financial independence review. I and my team would love to visit with you and talk about how you can develop a plan to become financially independent. It just starts with a phone call.